Hello, welcome back to Bame Farm. As usual, more fun and adventures. Our current adventure has been chopping silage. We've been working on such harvesting for the last, 3-4 days. It could be a little late, yes, but we didn't plant our corn until June 25th for silage. Yeah, so it's still green. Now we've got next to me our lovely behemoth 1890 New Holland silage chopper. It is a crop cruiser. Now comparatively, I don't know if we move that fast compared to, say, a large Kloss or a Krone, or even the newer New Hollands where they're chopping 8 rows or more. But it's faster than what we were before. I loved our little 3.707. However, it was a little bit slower, only doing 1 row at a time. And well, now we can get done and have the silo fill in a week instead of 2 to 3. And it always seemed we'd have a bit of a breakdown with that machine, just like we were using it a little too much. In fact, we wore out one 707 and bought another one and used our old one for parts for the less used one. It was an older machine than the first one we had, but it had much less use on it. So we used the older one and used ours for parts to keep that one going. But since then we've upgraded. I don't know if we got any newer, but we got a lot bigger. It's powered by a 3208 Cat. It's a V8. It sucks the fuel, I'll give it that much. This machine will run you out of house and home on diesel. But since we're going, 2-3 times faster than we were before, we can be okay with that expense. A little bit of dust and dirt on it. It's very dry right now. Ground's a little dirty. It's got a super long spout. The previous owner put that on there. They were filling like trucks or wagons next to the chopper instead of pulling something behind them, so I guess they needed the extra reach. But I'm pretty sure that is supposed to be about 5 foot shorter. With the extra weight, it's very difficult to get the spout to turn, so it's a good thing we've got some nice straight rows to chop so we can leave it in place for the most part. Don't have to swivel it. We've got a 3-row head. It's a model 1890. The serial plate's over here. We'll take a look at it. It's an 890A auger base. And then down here, this is the corn head part that's separate. It's an 1890 narrow 3. So, the idea was instead of changing heads, you could just change half the head. And the barn we've got pickup tines. But we mostly just do corn silage, so we'll leave the corn portion on the auger base of the head. Now, I really love that it has these little shear knives that rotate, nice and sharp, but that removes a sickle. Our 707 had a little sickle wobbling back and forth down here in the row. Well, I like the continuous circular motion instead of having something kind of stop and go like that sickle was. Now this right now it's set up for 30-inch rows. We plant on 36s. So we are cheating a little bit. It's very strenuous to get all 3 rows. So with 3 rows, we have one catching here at the very edge, one at the other, and trying to get the row in the middle perfect. So we kind of cheat when we do 2 rows. That's it's a bit easier to get down the head. Now, getting in here, there's these fingers that catch the corn, pull it in, don't want to get involved with those. And then there's the spike rollers that feed it in to the blades. I don't know if we can see the blades in the back very well. There's the blades. And when we got this machine, we had to do a bit of a rebuild on this gearbox. It's a reversing gearbox, so if you plug it, you can turn the head backwards. We got it back together, but I never ever tried to put it in reverse. We didn't even try it after we got it back together. It's going forward, and that's the way it's going to stay. The lever didn't act like it wanted to move easily, so we just decided to leave it going forward. The thrust bearing for the reverse, for the forward, had gone out. And the previous owners had made an attempt, because you can see where there was all sorts of make-your-own seal material, like you squeeze out of a tube, all over the edge of the gearbox here. Now, we eventually found the correct bearing for it. The one they had, they'd put it in backwards, so it wasn't even going to work properly. So yeah, when we bought it, it would go in reverse, but it wouldn't go forward. Well, I got it working. I don't even know if reverse works. I mean, everything's supposed to be adjusted for reverse, but I just don't want to go there. And it's a hassle to get that gearbox out of there. You got to take the head off, take this post out of the way. It would be great if the tire was removed, but we didn't do that. And we had a few guess and checks ourselves as to how it went together. So we did tear up a seal slightly, and it'll leak a bit of oil. But after the hassle of getting the thing in and out of there and apart 2 or 3 times, we just decided we can spare a little bit of extra hydraulic fluid for the gearbox. Now, for some reason, these tires were loaded. They still are. If I remember from the other side, we got a lovely rice tire over there, because that one tire, the tube went bad and it was leaking fluid everywhere. We have that fixed. We have the tire ready to put on it, but since we had that rice tire sitting around perfect, waiting to go, we've just left it on. We haven't had a need for it yet. But this tire's still loaded. Not that this machine needs any more weight. It seems to do just fine getting around. On the side here, there's 2 belts. The triple V belt runs the blower. And what the multi-V, there's probably 10 there or so, real tiny little guys, goes up to the front to power the chopping unit and the head. I hope we never have to replace those belts, because we have to take the hydraulic pump and everything involved with it off. This is a hydrostatic unit. It's 3 ranges of hydrostatic power and a manual clutch for the belts. So if the belts break, at least we can still move this thing around. I just hope that never happens, because that could be a bit of a nightmare. Looking through the manual for this, yeah, that's a sad attempt at somebody's garage to make mufflers. But according to the manual, it only had spark arresters, which were short little mini muffler looking things that didn't do squat, other than, you know, keeping sparks from flying. So this is very loud. But I also, when you're running corn through the chopper, that's very loud too. So they figured, hey, you're going to be making a bunch of noise, so what? See, the spout just keeps going, and we have a cab. No air conditioning, maybe heat. Maybe there's, yep, just heat. But I don't even know if it has the radiator line set up for heat. Lovely view from the cab. So we got our 3-speed in the gearbox. push forward, reverse, throttle. This engages the cutter. And here is our lovely gearbox reverser lever, which I just never touch. I don't want to touch it. Move the steering wheel. The multi-positions. That's a little low. It's nice to have it higher for getting in and out of this thing, 'cause it is a little tight over here. The mirror is lovely. We'll see that later. Hopefully I can go out and fill a wagon or two. Dad's out on a delivery. And most of the time when we're chopping silage, while he's chopping, I'm running wagons. I don't know if he just loves to drive this thing that much, or if the tradition has been that I've always ran wagons because I didn't like using our 3-point silage chopper. I'm not sure. Well, I'm going to check the oil and a few fluids, and we'll get back to it. Now, since I'm up here, we'll quick check the water. Looks like there's something in there. I don't know if you guys can see or not. We only run water in this machine because when we first got it, there was a leak in the radiator. And since it was leaking so much, we were just filling it with water. It's roughly cool enough this time of year not to worry about it. So we'll pull this radiator hose down here and drain out the engine block and everything. Now we have had the freeze out, as you can tell, with the freeze out plug right there. We have had that pop out even though we drained the water out. Well, we might need some oil. Hold on, guys. Let's put you on my head so I got two hands to work here. You've been around the machine, seen most of it. We'll get it running here soon. That is low. That's a lot low. Well, the good news is, it doesn't look like there's water in the oil. That's what I was afraid of. Because we have a radiator leak that we haven't properly taken care of. It's not great, not bad. I guess we'll pass for now. Good on water, okay on oil. Now that the gearbox leaks up there, and I probably should check this guy. It's been using a little bit of oil. What'd they do? Tape over a hole? What'd you guys do? It's a part. It's been, I don't know. Sometimes I give up asking questions on second or third owner machines, because you never know what you're going to find. Is there any oil in here? It's usually helpful. Ooh. How full should we fill that? Visible at the bottom of the strainer. Ooh. Okay. And then sometimes that gets a little low on oil too. It's got its leaks. But hopefully with speed we can replace the issue of leaks. I have no clue if the knives need to be sharpened. Haven't checked that. Need to oil chains and everything else. Well, I've been talking long enough, and I'm sure you all can imagine oiling and greasing and whatnot. So I'll get back to some action later.